Hallsville, Texas, July 2nd, 1964. Andrea becomes the fifth-born child into the Kennedy family. Early on in life, Andrea appeared to show signs of mental illness, suffering from bulimia, depression, and suicidal thoughts. Though these ailments did not impede her academic progress, as Andrea graduated as valedictorian from Milby High School in 1982. She would then go on to graduate from a 2-year pre-nursing program at the University of Texas Health Science Center in Houston. And in 1986, Andrea accepted a job as a registered nurse at the University of Texas Anderson Cancer Center. In the summer of 1989, Andrea meets Rusty Yates at the Sunscape Apartments in Houston. They date for a period of 4 years before becoming man and wife on April 17, 1993. 10 months later, on February 26, 1994, Rusty and Andrea Yates welcome into the world their firstborn child, Noah, a healthy baby boy. The Yates family would continue to expand, as John is born on December 15, 1995, Paul is born on September 13, 1997, and Luke is born on February 15, 1999. On June 16, 1999, Andrea Yates starts to become more depressed and attempts to commit suicide by overdosing on pills. Andrea would be hospitalized for a short time before being released, though this release would not last long as she attempted suicide again, this time by holding a knife to her throat. When she was admitted to the hospital for a second time, she was diagnosed with postpartum psychosis and was prescribed a cocktail of antidepressants, which immediately seemed to help her mental state. Although warned by her psychiatrist to not have any more children, as it would just exacerbate her condition, Andrea became pregnant just 7 weeks later, and on November 30, 2000, Andrea gave birth to her fifth child, who she named Mary. 4 months later, on March 12, 2001, Andrea's father, Andrew Kennedy, suddenly passes away, which sparks Andrea to stop taking her mental health medication and turn to the Bible for spiritual guidance. She would then begin to cut off all food to her infant daughter and began cutting herself on a daily basis, leading to more and more psychiatric evaluations. Rusty Yates is advised that Andrea could be released home, but requires that he is to supervise her at all times. On the morning of June 20, 2001, Rusty leaves for work. His mother is scheduled to arrive at the house just 1 hour later to care for Andrea. But in the space of the 1 hour that Andrea was left alone, the unthinkable finally happens. Immediately following the 911 call, Andrea calls Rusty and tells him that there is something wrong with all the children and to come home immediately. When he arrives home, he is greeted by police officers who already know the morbid scene that lies beyond the Yates family walls. According to Andrea Yates, shortly after her husband had left for work, she ran a bath and one by one invited John, Paul, and Luke inside, where she held their faces underwater before placing their lifeless bodies on her bed. She then drowned her youngest child, Mary, and left her floating face down in the tub before summoning her oldest son, Noah, into the bath. Seeing that Mary had been drowned, Noah tried to run away, but he was captured by Andrea and dragged back to the tub, where he met the same fate as his siblings. Andrea then took Mary out of the tub and laid her in the bed with her brothers, leaving Noah face down in the water before calling police.
What time was it that you got out of bed this morning?
At 8:10.
Okay. And who in your household was awake at that time?
My husband, Mary, and Luke, and Paul.
After you drew the bathwater, what was your intent? What were you about to do?
And the children.
What were you trying to accomplish then when you did take your children's lives?
Maybe in their innocent years, God would take them up.
God would take them up to be in heaven, is that what you mean? All right. And if you had not taken their lives, what do you think would happen to them?
If they would have continued stumbling.
And where would they end up? In hell.
At her trial, Andrea Yates pleads not guilty by reason of insanity. The jury rejects this notion, and in March of 2002, Andrea Yates is found guilty and sentenced to life in prison. This decision is overturned, however, just 4 years later, and on July 26, 2006, Andrea Yates is found not guilty by reason of insanity and committed to the North Texas State Hospital. She is then transferred in January of 2007 to the Kerrville State Hospital, a low-security mental facility where she will spend the rest of her life.
And if you had not taken their lives, what do you think would happen to them?
If they would have continued stumbling.
And where would they end up? In hell.